Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is Meri at the Meri Atelier, and it is Saturday morning. I'm a few minutes behind here. This is my first experience with pre-scheduling a live stream. Let me go out to and see. There you are. Hello, hello. Hi, Candy. Hi, Cheryl. Hi, Lola. Lala. It's early. And Deborah Brown. I did get a nap. Oh, are you talking to Lori? Oh, I'm looking way over across my desk here. Oh, the ads. Yeah. Skip that ad. You interrupted my chat reading here. Kimberly. And Cheryl and Lala. Pretty books. Okay. So this stream is to introduce our Saturday hop, and I could not find a way to put the schedule in the pre-schedule after I pre-scheduled it. So I will have to put the schedule in the hop afterwards. But the videos are not going to go live until 5:30 anyway. So I hope to be off of here by 5:30. The theme of the hop was to choose an artist and to do a piece of art in their style. Now, I kind of wanted that to relate to the style of art that we chose in January, which for me was colonial art. Very, very interesting. Colonial art. You think a lot of those colonists, they came over, many of them came over to the United States in the, 1600s, 1700s with nothing. And the 1700s was more, now I'm thinking of colonial America here. Colonial, that time period from the mid 1600s through maybe the late 1700s is the colonial period, especially in America, but there is art over in Europe going on too. So I doubt that I don't know what they called their art during that period over there. I'm not that much of an art historian. Be interesting to find out. But one of the artists who established himself was during that time in America was John Singleton Copley, Copley. And so he's the person that I chose. Very interesting reading. And several months ago in 2018, let me switch it over. I had done this piece just for fun. I called it a history piece. And of course I marked it, and now I'm I moved my marking right here of Paul Revere. And this I did, see, I wrote 1765 here. In the years before 1775, one of the best examples of the self-made man was versatile Paul Revere. And of course, this is talking about Paul Revere, but this portrait was painted by John Singleton Copley. And I got this out of this history book. And I had purchased this history book to Fussy Cut History. Oh, where is he now? I didn't mark him. Here it is. And of course, this is not about Copley. This is about the Confident Fraternity of Labor. But here's Paul Revere, and it's showing him holding a pewter piece. You know, Paul Revere was, didn't he forge pewter and make all these pewter pieces? But he was very much a part of the Revolutionary War over here in America. You know, the Midnight Ride of Paul Revere, one if by land and two if by sea. They were watching for the invasion. That's very much a part of our history. But if you look at this piece, and just by looking at this, the new realism in American painting is shown in this portrait of Paul Revere by John Singleton Copley, the first major painter of the colonies. Copley portrayed his friend around 1765, just as he saw him when he entered into his shop. Copley's realistic style was an innovation and contrasted strongly with the formal classical mode of European painters of the day. So, but in reading about colonial art, one of the things that they said was portraiture, a lot of portraiture, especially of the well-to-do and the wealthier families. You think of all these portraits, you know, on a staircase going up the wall of all your ancestors. And one of the things that they said about the paintings was when they portrayed them. Let me go out to my notes here, because I want to read this to you. It's very, very interesting. And rather than paraphrasing it, let me read it. I think I have a copy of it. I want to share that with you guys. Now, I've been reading about colonial art at the museum, the Metropolitan Museum of Art. No, come on. I want my mail. I sent myself some notes here. That's what I was doing right before I came on. This tablet's waking up this morning. In addition to the dazzling descendants, Copley offered persuasive fictions with his deft technique and social insights. He fashioned sitters, so the people who would sit for the portraits, into the persona that they wanted to project. So here's Paul Revere in his persona. He's holding on to a pewter piece. And it looks like there's a pillow, kind of. His hand is resting on an object here. I think it's a pillow. And if you look at this desk, you can see this was a very, very shiny tabletop. And you can see the reflection of his shirt and his torso on the desk. And it looks like he's got some tools out here. They almost look like engraving tools here. And he's got 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. And he's holding a pewter pot. So he adroitly choreographed bodies, settings, and objects into visual biographies that could calibrate social position. So what they put in their paintings, if they put other objects, it defined who they were, such as this pewter piece defines Paul Revere's profession. And then there's another piece. Let me go out and get it on my drive. I want to talk about these because this has to do with, how come I'm not, let's go to my drive. I put them out there last night. I'm hoping that they're there. They should be there first thing. Come on, Google, wake up. My drive. Another piece that was done was yeah, let's turn my sound up here. This lady, and she is Mrs. John Winthrop, a woman of letters and a wife of the Harvard University professor. So when Copley painted her, he combined the symbolism of the rare nectarine. So nectarine being, a piece of fruit, but it was rare in those days to have that nectarine. So there's a lot of symbolism going on in some of these portraits, especially by Copley. So he combined the symbolism of the rare nectarine with the art of writing. Mrs. Winthrop poises a sprig like a pen on a blank surface of the table in an allusion to her own life as an act of self-creation. And so if you go over here and look at, her portrait here, and this is from the Metropolitan Museum of Art. This is public domain art. She's holding a nectarine here, and she's holding it like a pen, and she's also seated at a table, and it makes me wonder if this isn't the same table maybe in his studio, because he's got that same reflection for her in here. He's reflecting her torso here, which I thought was kind of interesting. And here she is, and the piece calls her a woman of letters. Look, she's got he even put her pearl necklace on here. And I suppose that also symbolizes her social position. She was married to a Harvard professor. Kind of an interesting technique. And I almost think that she is seated at the same table as Paul Revere is, although Paul Revere's is a little bit more, and this one looks round in here. Although if you look at it close, it's hard for me to tell. If you look at it close up, it may not be round. There may be a round. Well, yeah, no, it looks like it's round in there. And look, there's a cushion behind her back. I'll bet she got tired of sitting there while he worked on her. Of course, she probably sat and he sketched it first. I would have loved to seen how he. Wouldn't you have loved to seen an in-process video of some of these masters as they worked? So another piece that Copley did was this. This is called A Boy with a Squirrel. And look, there's the table again. And I'm not sure it was a boy with a flying squirrel. And I'm not sure why they chose the flying squirrel, but this is a portrait of Henry Pelham. When Copley was born to two people, then I'm just paraphrasing this from my notes. He was born to two Irish immigrants who were not well-to-do. His mother worked in a tobacco shop on what they called Long Wharf. So there were all these shops and everything along the coastline there in Boston. And she ran a tobacco shop, and his dad was ill, and I think his dad traveled to India or someplace and passed away, and his mother remarried a man called Pelham. His last name was Pelham, and this fellow here, Henry, is Copley's stepbrother. And he was very much an artist too, and so was, I want to call him, what was his name? Peter? I can't remember. I might have that in my notes. Copley's son. Very interesting. Copley's wife. Pastels. No, I didn't put the name of that guy. I could look it up here on Wiki, but I'm not going to take the time to do it now. But anyway, when Copley learned to paint, he very much learned, he was kind of a self-taught. He didn't go to an art school, he didn't go to university, but he learned from his stepfather, and so did this fellow, Henry. And this was the boy with the flying squirrel. And let me see, they got the objects on the desk here. Here's that tabletop again. And he's got that reflection kind of going on right in there. Not as evident here. But he's got the squirrel there, and it looks like a little glass of water. He looks like he's got a glass of water or something of liquid. And the little squirrel has a chain around its neck. And it looks like he's eating maybe a walnut or something there. They look like they're feeding him something because the little squirrel is eating. Look at that little squirrel. I know you guys can't see it that well, but... And so very much added things to the painting to describe what was their persona and what was going on. Another thing that Copley did was what they called history painting. And it was a genre in painting defined by its subject matter rather than the artistic style. So history paintings depict a moment or a narrative story rather than something static like a portrait. Oh, Peter Pelham was Copley's stepfather. And Peter Pelham was an engraver and probably a lithographer and worked in that area. But this fellow, Henry, the boy with the squirrel, was a cartographer, which was a map maker. And he and Copley, who's the artist who painted this, they wrote letters back and forth, and they're called the Copley-Pelham letters, and you can find those online. And I didn't download it to read it all, but I want to because I don't have space on my mobile for all of that. But you can download it and take a look at their communications back and forth. But the boy with the flying squirrel, it was a likeness of Henry Pelham, then aged 15 or 16, that featured The Boy with the Flying Squirrel was a painting that was exhibited in London in 1776 and brought Copley his first fame abroad. Now, even though John Singleton Copley was the artist who painted this, even though he was born in America, he did travel over to England. And of course, you have to think 1775, 1776 was about the time of the Revolution. So I tend to think Copley was more loyal to the British side. You know, even back then, there was, in the Revolutionary War, had people who supported the British and people who supported the revolution. So Copley moved to England, and I don't think he ever really returned home again. I think he lived the rest of his life in England. And his son, and it's very, very interesting to read about this. His son ended up being John Singleton, where was it? Copley's son. John Singleton Copley, the first Baron Lyndhurst. So he was an attorney, a lawyer, in England. So that's kind of the background of the artist. And of course, Copley is well known for his portraiture here. So that is the piece that I am going to do. And I think I'm going to, I have always wanted to do another history piece right here. And so I'm not going to do it here. I'll probably do it and put it in here later. I wanted to talk more about the artist and the style and the background and colonial art itself. In I think for the general population, people like me, in today's society, I'm not a well-known artist like in the sense that Copley was in his day. I'm just a little person out here in the middle of the state of Nebraska who, of course, I have the advantage in today's society. I have all these art supplies around me, but I don't have the notoriety of a well-known artist of my day. And I think of people during the Revolutionary War who were in a similar social position as myself back then, who could not go down to their local craft store and buy a set of watercolors, or who couldn't go buy acrylic paint and use a 40% off coupon, that type of thing. So a lot of them probably did, and even the gals who did the needlework samplers, you know, that if you follow needlework, there's a very big thing in collecting samplers that were done by these school-age girls back in that period, but they were mostly well-to-do families. Now, I know that there are some I don't want to call them, I just call them the common folk back then, who did do needlework, but it was more what they called mark making. They stitched initials on their linens. And you can find some schoolgirl samplers that are done by not the high-class families or the well-to-do families. There are some, but there are very, very few out there. And I think of what those people in that lower social position did to, as far as art goes, to beautify their surroundings. I'm sure that they did some things. I'm sure that they probably had some access to watercolor. You know, I would love to be able to, I hate to say to time travel because I really wouldn't want to time travel, but I would love to know. I would love to be able to go back and see, meet a person in history who had the same interest in art and how they were able to express it in that day. So what I want to do is the lady, the Susanna Winthrop, Mrs. Winthrop, I want to go back and do a picture of her in this same style. So that's where I'm heading with this. I don't have it finished per se. You're not going to see me do art. You're going to hear me chatter about it. But I also kind of want to talk about the hop, which is going to go live here in a few minutes. I want to go out and introduce the hop, and I have the links here. And I would tell you to go to Tanya McGuire's because I know that hers is out there and it's been scheduled. I'm going to give it a few minutes and then I'm going to go over to her link. I have the set of links here, but I could not put them in my, can I get to, let me copy these. Select all, copy. Let's see if I can get out to Phibbsville here. I don't know if I can get out to Phibbsville. Places, I don't know if I have. I don't think I have Facebook on here. I might, oh yeah, I do, Facebook. Let me get out to Phibbsville. Oh, it turned everything upside down. Come on. Why did you do that? It wants me to sign in. That's why. I can't get out to Facebook, so let's go back to my email. I'm kind of, why did it turn everything upside down for me? let's go back to my email. I want to talk about the people who are in the hop. Tanya McGuire was the first person who sent a video in to me. So she's right up here at the top. And then Tim, Designs by CADPRO, and Artfully Blind with Diana. And I don't have titles for their art, but when you go out and look at it, you will see on the title of their art. I did not request them to give me a title or anything, and they scheduled their video. I did not go and check their videos or anything like that. I just trusted them to get it out there, and usually they do. The gals and the people who participate in these are, for the most part, pretty savvy about these things. So Tanya and Tim, and Artfully Blind with Diana, and Lisa, My Eclectic Life, Kathy Arbour, LovelyMalia, Mrs. Gigi, Janet Nash, Roy, Schmitt, Bootsie, and then myself are the 10 people participating in this swap. And I can't give you a schedule or anything like that other than the videos because let's see if Tanya's has gone live yet. Fourth Art Saturday Hop with Tanya McGuire. So if you go to Tanya, and she probably has in her description box, here's the same schedule that I just showed you. So I would pop out to Tanya's channel first if you want to follow this hop. Let's go back to her. And where did it go? It bopped out on me. The whole thing bopped out on me. Let's get an idea of what Tanya did. In the art style of Sally Trace. Oh, that sounds interesting, doesn't it? I don't know who Sally Trace was. So I'm going to go out and watch this. This sounds really interesting. She's got ink pens. I don't have the sound turned up here, but it looks like she's introducing the hop right here. Let's see if I can bop forward a little and see what she's doing. She's reading. She's telling us about it. And, ooh, she's got some colorful pieces there. You're going to have to go watch it. I don't want to play the whole video here. You're going to have to go watch it. So I would start with Tanya McGuire and hop on down through the videos. Let's see the style of artists and listen to them talk about the same type of thing that I did here with John Singleton Copley and the art that they produce. And I may Sunday, I'm not going to do it this weekend because I'm kind of tired, go out here and do a companion piece to Paul Revere. I did this last year in, did I date it? I didn't date it. I didn't date it. See, you should always date and sign your art. It was around May, because it's May here. So I did this last May just for fun. And I did it a quick, I was playing with these watercolors here. These watercolor sets that I got. So, and my Prima watercolors. I was playing with these. I gotten these with a coupon from Meri 2. I wanted this set so bad, and I didn't want to spend the money. And in the mail, Meri 2 had sent me a coupon to Hobby Lobby, so I went out and bought the complexion set. And this was me playing with them. So I'm going to go ahead and bop off. I do like, this video was very much an experiment for me. So I'm not really synced together as far as doing art. But now that I know that I can pre-schedule these videos to introduce the hop, I may pre-schedule them for a little bit earlier so that I can actually work on the piece that I wanted to do over here rather than all my chattering, but I wanted to give you the background of John Singleton Copley. I have just touched on studying him. I would love to know more about him. I would love to get my hands on those Copley Pelham letters and see what kind of communication, if they just talked about piece of his art or had lists. A lot of it looked like lists, and I'm not sure what was going on there because I couldn't read it all on my phone. So I'm going to go ahead and get off. I'm going to say go to Tanya McGuire's channel. Watch her. She's really kind of kicking it off, other than me doing the introduction here. Go watch her video. Hop into her description box and follow the links down. Enjoy the hop. As you do, be sure to like and comment. Let these people know how much you appreciate them, and I know that you guys do. We appreciate you. We appreciate you more than you know, but the people who participate in these hops, they put a lot of work into their videos. You know, it's and then there's all the technical issues to deal with. I had to learn how to set my pre-schedule up. It's very simple, I think, on the laptop, but on the phone, I'm going, where do you go to do this? You know, and I had to get some technical help and then after I got it all set up, I wasn't sure that when I clicked on it this morning that it was actually going to go live into a live stream. So now that I know that I can do this, next month I may schedule a little bit ahead and put the pre-schedule out in the feed, so you guys will see, oh, there's a hop coming up, and you can set your reminders on, and that will be a way of introducing when the next hop is going to be. And we already have topics chosen through April. I'm not sure if we have anything for May and June yet, but we do have April's topic, and I'm sure people like Tanya have already. Tanya and Lisa, they're very coordinated. They know they want a list. They want to know what's going to happen in June and July so that they can get their work done. And Meri's not like this. Meri waits until the night before. So, and I've always been like that. Sometimes I get inspiration almost, I want to say, on the job. It's almost immediate for me. So I'm not much of a pre-planner in that sense. So enjoy the hop. Have a great weekend. And I will see you Sunday night. Let me go back to my channel here. I'm on Tanya's. I want to see if anybody's talking to me out there. I've been talking to you guys. Carla's here. Janet's here. Aunt Beck says she always does a sample ahead of time to work out the snags. See, and Meri's, I don't do that. If I hit a snag, and I often will, if I'm doing binding a journal, and if I get my thread all tangled, you'll see me sit here for 15 minutes untangling that thread. And sometimes I like to do that because sometimes you guys give me good ideas of how to approach something or how to get out of something. Like I was painting the face on my Art Nouveau, or I was painting the background, and I had the little statuette picture out, and of course I had to paint on my tabletop, and I probably could have recovered on that on my own, but it wasn't immediate for me while I was doing it. And Janice said, well, Meri, you said you wanted more floral, just make leaves out of those. I had messed up, I got paint all over my picture. So sometimes when I hit those oopsies in my videos live, you guys are out there telling me what to do. Now, I'm not much of a pre-planner in that way. Maybe that's something I need to work on. Cheryl is here. Rewatch Janet. Very cool. Oh, from the walk. Janet went out. Janet, Nash, and Freddie like to walk. Freddie's her dog. Oh, Aunt Beck put a little emoji of a little, looks like a little birdie out there. Aw, that's cute. Carla. Janet says good evening to Carla. Lala's here. I thank you guys for coming in and listening to me chatter. Sometimes I read this information, all this information about the colonial art, and I'm taking it in and I'm processing it. Sometimes it's when I'm talking extemporaneously, it's hard for me to tell you everything that I'm absorbing in. But I hope that you got the general sense of portraiture was big back then. And Aunt Beck, when I was reading about colonial art in the North and in the South, and in the South it was they said Charleston, South Carolina, and of course Aunt Beck lives in South Carolina. She doesn't live in Charleston, but I immediately thought of Aunt Beck. But they, back in the colonial period in the southern states, Charleston, South Carolina had a lot of well-known artists, and it was a big art center back then. And I would love to travel to South Carolina and see some of all of that back there. All right, I'm gonna let you guys go. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the hop, and I will see you Sunday night. Don't forget, Tanya McGuire will be on at noon on Sunday, and Beth Schuler will be on tonight in the evening at my supper time. Bye, everybody. Have a great weekend. Aunt Beck said it's only a half an hour and a half to drive to Charleston. Oh, wow. That's cool. I'll bet there's a lot of history back then. And I'm thinking the colonial period, which was pre-Civil War, before the Civil War period. I'll bet there's a lot of history back in there. All right. Bye, everybody.